All right. Hello, everybody. We are back. Sasa, how was your Thanksgiving break?
It was so fun. I was back in New York, spent a lot of time with family, came back to LA Friday evening, and then went out with friends. I went to like a really unhinged party on Saturday, and I was like, whoa, this is reminding me of old Sasa, like 20-year-old Sasa. And it was fun. It was interesting to say the least.
Wait, so what made this like unhinged?
So it was it's like a DIY warehouse party, but it was at a house and it's called Basement. Like the party is called Basement. And if you're from New York, there is like a pretty well-known club in Ridgewood called Basement. And it very much gives like a Berghain like vibe of just kind of dark, moody, underground feel. And so I was like, oh, I figure it'll be like this, but we show up and we're at this bitch's house. Like it's her full-blown house. And she converts the whole thing into like this big party. And it's literally in the basement of her house. I saw the woman put a lock on her bedroom door and there's like 250 people in this house. And I was just like, what is this? I don't know if like zoning laws come into effect here, but clearly they
Wait, so was it like a full-on rager, music, lights?
Yeah. They had a couple DJs on set. They were all great, but like I felt very claustrophobic at one point. I was like, I think I need air. There were so many tall people around me, I only could look up. If I looked to the side, it was just like shoulders, heads, whatever. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll figure this out. But then I went on a date. I went on a date on Sunday. And Julia, this guy drove 9 hours from San Francisco to meet me in Silver Lake. He was stuck in traffic from San Fran down to here. And I was whoa.
Oh my God. I mean, usually it's only like a 6-hour drive.
That's what he told me.
How was the date?
I mean, he was really lovely. I don't think I see any like long-term prospects, but like he's starting like a psych tech startup. He seemed creative and cool, but just, the vibes were like, okay, but I don't know.
Why didn't he just fly?
That's an excellent question. I think because he has a place in LA too. And so he drove from LA to SF to see family and stuff. And I don't know. I don't really get it. I would rather fly than drive.
I mean, I think flying is normal. I think a lot of San Francisco guys, they will fly to go on dates because they find the dating pool in SF to be not super exciting at times. So I know plenty of dudes in San Francisco, they'd fly to New York, Miami, Los Angeles, but driving is crazy.
Driving is wild. Kind of wanted to see the Spaniard over the weekend, but then he was sick with the flu, so it was really sad. Julia, he has the body of a Greek god, and I'm hoping our schedules align soon.
I mean, they will. But when you're single, you're single until you're married. So have fun with it.
Like I say, I'm a free agent until otherwise. So,
got to build out that roster.
Exactly. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was so fun. We went down to Cabo. We spent an entire week. And I think my family is probably the only people that avoid the sun at all costs. I discovered this new thing. They're called UV patches. So think about eye masks, but to protect yourself from the sun.
Oh, I love this. Do you wear them?
Yeah, I do. Shamelessly. I would have posted about it, maybe sent a pic, but they are so unflattering because they come in nude. They're nude eye patches. So you can either get the eye patch shape or the full face mask shape. And my mom is a queen and she will rock the full sheet mask. But again, it's nude colored. So you straight up look like Hannibal Lecter. It is... But she does not care.
I love that.
And she gave me one. She's like, here, wear it. Because I just got lasered last week. So I had to be really careful about the sun. But I couldn't get myself to do it. Maybe I should. Maybe this is my sign that I should have enough courage to go out in public with the full on sheet mask.
I mean, I think I would definitely do the patches. The sheet mask is next level. I would have to really commit to the bit to do that.
It's a lot. But, where we live, it's a bunch of families, right? It's a really family-friendly neighborhood, and it kind of brings people in from all over the country. A lot of people from LA, obviously, it's a really quick and easy flight, but a lot of people from the Midwest, like Chicago, Jackson Hole, and a ton of Mormon people live in my community.
Really?
And let me tell you something. Mormons are so hot, Sasa. It's crazy.
Wait, Julia, are you telling me I should become a Mormon wife?
Absolutely not. But like that, what is it? On Disney, the Mormon Housewives show, they
Secret
are
Life of Mormon Housewives. Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. The Secret Lives of Mormon, they are literally that hot or hotter. These women put those Hulu women to shame. They all have six packs. They all have long blonde hair. They all look beautiful and they all have like 4.5 children each. And I think I cracked the code as to why they look so good.
Why?
I do know that like part of the Mormon religion, it really is important for upkeep and presenting yourself, being a representative of the faith, right? So they're all about like makeup, hair, clothing, etc. But the key to looking young for them is they don't drink and they don't drink and all they do is work out because they're just so focused on health and being healthy. But it was crazy how hot these Mormon women are.
Wow. Okay. What about the dudes also?
Dudes also hot, yes, but it's crazy. We have these like pickleball tournaments with the entire community, and everyone is always afraid to go up against the Mormons, and they call them the Mormon Terminators because they don't drink coffee, they don't drink alcohol. All they do is work out. Yeah, but it was fun. It was really, really fun. Sun patches and hot Mormons.
Welcome to GlowJob, the beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. We're the only podcast
to make you hotter and smarter.
So let's get into the news portion of today.
A little pop culture for you guys. La Ball, aka the Debutante Ball, or basically Met Gala for teenagers, just happened quite recently.
So as someone who was a debutante back in the day, this is something that I do like to follow every once in a while because the La Ball is a debutante ball of all debutante balls. It's got this international vibe and it's just the richest kind of Nepo baby Olympics, I would almost describe it, but it's invite only. So you cannot buy a ticket and you have to be selected. And there's this one woman, her name is Ophélie Renard, and she personally selects every single debutante this year. So I always love seeing one, who the heck they pick, and two, what these 18-year-old girls are wearing. But it's like Gossip Girl on another level. Because a lot of these families, they're literally like aristocracy, they're royalty, or they're celebrities, A-list celebrities, right? Like in the US, we don't have royalty. So we have, whether it's like a Gwyneth Paltrow or Reese Witherspoon, or this year was Angela Bassett's daughter. So it's really fun to watch.
How many girls get selected for this debutante ball?
I think it's like 20. And honestly, I wonder how soon the parents have to start campaigning before the girls actually turn 18. So let's break down who actually got selected this year. Because I was a little bit surprised and unsurprised. But starting off, there was Carolina Lansing, the granddaughter of Carolina Herrera. Obviously, she wore a Carolina Herrera gown, looked amazing. Angela Bassett's daughter, as I mentioned. And then a bunch of, really strong, powerful political family. The great-great-great-granddaughter of the founder of Pakistan, the daughter of the Duke of Marlborough, Lady Amarynta Spencer Churchill, who was related to Winston Churchill, But one of the ones that really surprised me was Reagan Sachs, who is David Sachs' daughter.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I mean, let's throw in some billionaires in here.
Again, America, we don't have royalty. So I guess our version of that is billionaires' kids.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like the Gilded Age, the Gilded Era, the 20s, the big comeuppance of the United States was like the emergence of these millionaire, billionaire families, like the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, like that's basically American royalty.
Totally. But it's really fun to watch. And I always just love seeing what the outfits are. And to me, it's kind of interesting that debutante balls are still so popular. Because way back in the day when these were first a thing, the whole idea is that it's a woman's debut into society. That's why they're called a debutante, meaning that they're just eligible for marriage. So it's like a parade almost of who is now eligible to get married.
I mean, I guess it's not that far-fetched. Like when you're online dating, you're basically presenting yourself as like a piece of meat ready to look for another partner or someone, whether that be a fling or someone long-term. Like it's part of the culture, but it is quite a dated tradition.
It definitely is. And when I did it, definitely still felt a little bit dated, but I liked it because the program that I was with, you start in middle school, and at least the one that I was in, National Charity League, it's all about volunteer services. So it's a mother-daughter program, and for the majority of it, every single month, you're out there doing community service with your mom and a bunch of other girls in your grade that typically go to different high schools. So you always get to like mingle a little bit that way. But the whole debutante thing was crazy because I literally wore a wedding dress. I don't know how. Yes. I don't know why these girls at Le Bal get to choose these like fabulous gowns and all of these colors. I literally looked like a cake topper.
Oh my God. That's so cute.
I'll find the photo and I'll send it to you. But this thing was huge. It had like a hoop skirt underneath.
Oh, you were like old school dress, old school. I guess Le Bal is still a thing.
Yeah, I guess so. It'll keep being a thing. I don't know. As long as there's Nepo babies out there, they're going to want to find ways to celebrate being a Nepo baby.
I get it. If you're a proud parent and you have a daughter and you're thinking this is a way to show your status in society. Look, people always want to feel like they're part of a club. And so if you're selected as one of like 20 girls for this special thing, I'm sure everyone revels in that feeling. So I get it.
Yeah, for sure. And now back to beauty news. There are a lot of whispers out there that Armani Beauty is going to discontinue the current formulation for their iconic Luminous Silk Foundation.
So this rumor is based off of new EU regulations on the ingredient cyclopentasiloxane. That is quite a mouthful. So it's a type of silicone where the main controversy is that it can actually impact the environment. So it can contaminate waterways, et cetera. And in June of 2027, all cosmetic products will be limited to a maximum of 0.1% of this ingredient. So the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation utilizes cyclopentasiloxane, so this ingredient.
And I don't know if Armani is leaking this story now, right around Black Friday, because it is like the shopping event of the season, but people could not stop buying this foundation. They are so afraid that the reformulation is just going to change everything. But almost all of the shades are sold out online in the full-size bottles as well as the travel size.
So there has been a precedence for reformulations, quote unquote, like destroying a product or an iconic formulation. Givenchy had their Prisme Libre loose powder. And in that reformulation, they removed talc. And in 2024, that totally tanked sales of that product.
People online were absolutely livid when that happened. And it was the same idea where people were just stockpiling it. These Prisme Libres, they were popping up on secondary markets like eBay, and they were going for like 3-4x the price. People were going absolutely feral for it. And I think this is why everyone is stocking up on the Armani Luminous Silk now in case they don't like the new version that's going to come out.
When Beauty of Joseon removed their OG formula, girl, I went ham. I bought so many bottles of that stuff. Oh my God, it was crazy.
You bought me bottles of that stuff.
I was like, Julia, we need to protect ourselves. Next up, the New York Times has reported that first-time homebuyers are now older than ever.
Honestly, this is such a bummer, but I really do love that they broke it out kind of year over year, really seeing how that age is changing. But they started off measuring things in 1991, where the average age of a first-time homebuyer was 28 years old. And then they kind of fast forward to 2019, where it jumped to 33 years old. It stayed at 33 for a while, and then it just kept going up and up and up. In 2023, it was 35 years old. In 2024, it did dip back down to 28, but now it is 40 years old for a first-time homebuyer in 2025. What do you think about that?
Wow. So when I think about this in terms of macroeconomics, it makes sense because in 2024, I feel like that was sort of the last little bit of time where rates were still pretty low. You could buy a home reasonably and people were. Obviously there was a huge boom post-COVID. Everyone was buying up homes left and right. 2025, 40. I mean, that's really indicative of where rates have gone. Rates have been so high. They've been the highest since basically the 80s. The 80s, the rates were insane, but that's a totally different context. So it makes sense that people aren't able to purchase homes anymore. Because what used to be, a $1 million home with let's call it a $3,000 to $4,000 monthly mortgage payment is now something that's a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 mortgage payment given the interest rates. So it makes sense.
And when you think about it in Los Angeles, and I know this is going to sound really outlandish to all of our listeners living outside of the city, but you can't really buy a home for $1 million in LA. Even when you're looking at condos and apartments, a $1 million home is only going to get you one bedroom at most in some of the more desirable areas. So if you're buying a house with the idea of wanting to start a family, $1 million is just not even close.
It barely scratches the surface, which I know is crazy, but it's real.
Yeah. And throughout the article, they really kind of break down all of the other reasons. So many people, they really struggle firstly with just saving enough money for that down payment. So many people in this millennial generation have student loans, rising cost of living, and rent nowadays is insanely high. So it's all just a combination of all of these different factors that's just driving up the age of the average home buyer.
Jules, do you want to buy a home?
I do. Obviously, I think everybody wants to buy a home. Why not, right? But it's tricky when I think about where I want to buy a home and when I want to buy a home, that really skews things quite a bit. And, I'm 33. So when I can think realistically right now, do I plan on buying a home in the next 2 years? Probably not. And I'm 35 then, right? In 2 years. And now you can really understand why a first-time home buyer is 40 years old. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely want to buy a home. I've bought a home before and I sold it kind of during COVID. And that was a crazy time. But I would love to buy a home in Los Angeles. Like that's my goal. I want to live here.
In Los Angeles?
Yeah, I really want to live in LA. I've fully converted that I could see myself living in Los Angeles long term. So I guess I'm saving up right now.
Wow, that's exciting. It's crazy. I honestly don't know if I would buy a home in Los Angeles. It's
Really?
not the most friendly place for homeowners. It really favors a lot of renters. It's extremely expensive. Property taxes are insane. All of these different reasons. If you want to buy a home and have a family, the schooling out here is also crazy expensive.
Yeah.
So many reasons. And all of these things that I'm saying are even more reasons to add to that 40-year age of the, first-time home buyer.
The only other place I would buy a home would be in New York. And to be honest, property tax in New York is also insane. So I feel like I kind of been desensitized to property tax because I'm just used to it. I'm like, okay, I guess this is the buy-in cost and I have to suck it up. So I'm mentally prepared, but I know what you mean. It is a whole thing.
But there's a reason why people pay the crazy property tax. It's so much better living in LA. I freaking love it here.
Exactly. To me, this is the way I justify it. And not everyone may agree with me, but it is sort of the premium to live in the center of culture. You have lower property taxes in the middle of the country because guess what? There aren't cool museums or interesting restaurants or new plays, things happening there. So
or even jobs, right?
Exactly.
For me, I don't know what I would do work-wise if I lived someplace in the Midwest that didn't have, a skincare industry or a beauty industry that I wanted to be an active participant in.
Totally. And even to make it more practical, the best hospitals are usually in metropolitan areas. I'm thinking of the big institutions. These are all the sort of premiums of why you pay to live in either a city or a suburb that's close to a city. So that's how I justify it all at the end of the day.
It makes sense. And next up, we have a little bit of CPG news drama, which has been really juicy. But Williams-Sonoma is officially suing Quince through the use of false advertising laws.
Quince, the popular, affordable luxury, in air quotes, DTC brand, is being sued by Williams-Sonoma for allegedly using deceptive dupes and price comparison advertising that misleads consumers and trades on the reputation of Williams-Sonoma's brands Pottery Barn and Rejuvenation. They're bringing the suit under false advertising and unfair competition theories rather than the traditional trademark or trade dress claims. I find this really interesting because usually it's you took the logo, you copied this item, but they're bringing this about in terms of false advertising. I haven't seen that before.
So the way that it works on the Quince website is, Quince will sell a product, whether it's a cashmere sweater, or in this case, it's probably a pot or a frying pan of sorts. If you look on the website underneath the description, their whole claim to fame is that we use the same manufacturers as all of these luxury brands, whether it's, a Prada or a Valentino, or in this case, a Williams-Sonoma. So my assumption here is that they are going after that line there, made in the same factory or same manufacturer as Williams-Sonoma. And that's why they're calling it, dupe in that regard.
Williams-Sonoma is seeking injunctive relief to stop Quince's current marketing. Plus, they're looking after monetary remedies. So that includes profits that were allegedly gained through these contested practices. So what are your thoughts on this whole dupe thing and overall dupe culture, Julia?
I mean, we've talked about dupes so many times because it's so rampant in the beauty industry and the fashion industry, and I guess now in the home goods industry as well. But there is a huge part of me that is pro dupe. I think that it does such a good job of making products really equitable to people. I think that some of these brands, the margins that they're going after, the markups that they're putting on their products is astronomical. And it's really not fair to the consumer. And a lot of consumers, they don't understand the luxury price model, especially in beauty, right? Like we talk all the time about how some certain beauty products have a 90% margin. That is insane.
I feel similarly to you on this. And in some ways, it kind of feels like Williams-Sonoma is getting a little bit of like a taste of their own medicine because Pottery Barn, like the part of the reason why they became so popular was that like they often would create dupes themselves of more expensive retailers, furniture retailers, and literally like copy the exact same sofa and then like be half the price. So they play in this game too. Maybe they don't use the same language that Quince did, but yeah, that's how I feel.
And at the end of the day, again, I don't know what products exactly they're going after Quince for, but I'm assuming it's pots and pans, right? A pot and a pan is a pot and a pan. I really don't think, the price, you have to pay a premium on certain things like pots and pans, right?
So Jules, they actually straight up sell furniture. Like Quince started with sweaters and little tchotchkes, and now they straight up sell couches and coffee tables and like everything you can imagine.
I mean, I am still pro dupe, especially in the furniture department, because these furniture people are crazy. I've seen couches that get sold for $100,000. That is bonkers to me.
Ooh.
It costs more than a car. You can buy a home in the Midwest. I'm just kidding. You can't buy a home in the Midwest for that much. But no,
it's affordable. I love it.
It is affordable. But no, $100,000 for a freaking couch is insane. But here's my whole thing. I am pro dupe in certain regards, but I don't like it when it's an exact copy paste, if that makes sense. Because especially in furniture, like there is a lot of artistry that goes into the design and the materials resourcing. I do understand that, but I don't think that Williams-Sonoma and Pottery Barn are the artistes of the furniture world.
Not at all. I respect beautiful furniture. I love beautiful furniture. I've splurged on beautiful furniture, but I can promise you that Pottery Barn probably uses the same manufacturer as like 5 other brands out there. I remember one time I was shopping for furniture. This was like a couple of years ago. And I saw this one sofa that I really liked. I think it was on Lulu in Georgia. I have dining chairs from Lulu in Georgia, but I don't buy anything like too crazy from there. But I saw this one couch and I was like, oh, this is so cute. And then I don't know what like got over me, but I was like, you know what? Let me do a reverse image search of this couch on Google and just like see what comes up. And I did. And there were like 4 other retailers that sold the exact same couch. Most of them were about the same price, but there was one that it was like $500 cheaper. And so like, yeah, I'm going to use that retailer. But it goes to show they all use the same manufacturer and then they just distribute it to like the different quote unquote brand.
Oh, this reminds me so much. So back in the day when you and we had our GlowJob launch party, we did it at this really cute art gallery in Culver City. And it shared a parking lot with this furniture store called Dupes. Did you remember? Do you remember this?
I think I do. Yes.
Yes. So when I went inside, it's literally every single thing in there is a dupe of a famous couch.
Wow.
So whether it's like the cloud couch or whatever it is, it's half the price. But these guys must have some big cojones because they do not care. They're just going to go and say, it's in the name. It's in the name. Dupes.
And our last story for today's news roundup. Olive Young, the very popular Korean beauty retailer, is set to open their first U.S. location next year in Pasadena and Westfield Century City Mall here in Los Angeles, May of 2026.
I am so excited. But don't you think it's crazy that Los Angeles getting not 1, but 2 Olive Youngs before everyone else does?
Yeah, it's kind of bonkers, but it makes sense because geographically it's the closest to Korea. So like it's probably easier for the team, the corporate team to fly and like oversee everything. But no, 2 is a lot. That's aggressive.
I'm really excited to see how Olive Young is going to perform because in Korea, Olive Young is so much more successful successful than Sephora. They are so successful that when Sephora entered South Korea in 2019, they struggled to compete so much. By 2024, they packed up and left. They just kind of threw in the towel because they were just getting stomped out by Olive Young.
That's so crazy because obviously Sephora is a huge thing in the Western market. Like everyone just thinks of makeup and they think of Sephora.
Definitely. And there's so many reasons why people love Olive Young. Obviously, you got the big houses like the Beauty of Joseon and the Medicube and all these household names. But it really is a great place to discover smaller K-beauty brands. Because I think what a lot of people in the United States don't really realize is that Beauty of Joseon was kind of created for an American market. And there's this entire ecosystem of all of these little brands or even bigger brands that Americans have no idea about that is what Koreans actually use. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. And I also think because like Olive Young, their stores are physically massive. Like they're multi-level situations, which makes it way more conducive to like stocking all these smaller brands versus Sephora. And like, don't get me wrong, I love Sephora, but it's a limited selection of the brands that you're going to get.
Yeah, their whole vibe is like curation, white glove, being a little bit, fancy pants. But with Olive & Young, it's way more than just skincare and beauty. They have this whole like health and wellness section. And some of the Olive Youngs in South Korea, you can even do things like get wine and snacks and toys. They really...
I like this.
It's like a one-stop shop for everything you need. But I did a little bit of digging into just how big Olive Young is in South Korea. But in a recent earnings report, they stated that they had $2.93 billion in cumulative revenue in just the first 3 quarters of 2025. And that's a 20% year-over-year growth. How wild is that?
That's an amazing number. That's a beautiful number. That is almost $3 billion. I bet you they're going to close $3 billion by the end of the year.
And also just to add on to that, like think about the scale of Korea versus the United States.
Oh my God, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Right?
It is popular in Asia across the board, but like definitely it is like, Korea is a small country. So this is crazy that they're able to generate this amount of revenue. But they've been around for a while. They started 26 years ago.
And as of today, they have over 71% of the market share in the health and beauty sector of Korea.
Well, I guess you and I are going to be the first people in either the Pasadena or Century City Mall location.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be us. And I bet you a ton of Gen Alpha.
Oh yeah, for sure. Also, wait, the fact that it's going to be in Century City, where the heck are they going to put it? Because that mall's kind of full.
I'm trying to think. I haven't been there in a little bit, but I feel like they do have big spaces.
Really?
Is somebody going to leave? How are they going to make space?
Oh, maybe one of the department stores is leaving. Ooh. Spicy. I like this.
That is spicy. We will see how this continues. All right. And for the last kind of fun fact, not really a story, but Sasa, I have some fun info for you. Oxford just released their 2025 Word of the Year. Would you like me to share it with you?
Please do.
It was rage bait.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my God, I'm obsessed.
I knew you would like this. No, it came across in my Instagram feed and I was going to send it to you because I think my initial gut reaction is always be like, send to Sasa.
Yes.
Send to Sasa. Talk about it in the news roundup. But no, this one I wanted to save because I knew this would make you really, really happy.
I love this. Whoever was in their team picking this word, like when they said okay to this, they were very smart.
So I know a couple other contenders for this year were aura farming as well as biohacking, but rage bait is so much better, don't you think?
So much better. It's so good. So, Merriam-Webster also does a word of the year. They haven't announced theirs yet, but did you know that dictionary.com, they announced their word of the year?
Is it 6'7"? What is it?
It is. It's 6'7". Wait, how did you guess that?
Wait, really?
Yeah, it is. It's like the lowbrow word, dictionary.com versus Oxford and Merriam-Webster.
I know this is always like a little sillier and a little more like timely, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. Yeah.
6'7" isn't a word.
It's not.
Wait, Sasa, are you kidding me? It's literally 6'7".
I am dead ass, not joking. It's the literal number 6 and then the literal number 7.
I need to buy a lotto ticket. I cannot believe I guessed that.
Yeah, do it. Buy one. Buy 10. I'll go in on a pool with you.
Wait, 6? Okay, that is so dumb.
I know.
But I'm honestly kind of upset about how many times we have brought up 6'7" on the podcast this year.
We're just trying to keep up with the times, keep up with the kids, be hip
It's
and cool.
crazy. Oh my God. When I was in Cabo, I met a Gen Alpha. Yeah, we had
A Gen Alpha. Tell me more.
She was the cutest, girliest, most diva I have ever met. Her name is Alexis. And when I introduced myself to her, she's just like, oh, your outfit's so nice. Your lip gloss is so nice. And she was like, what do you do for work? And I'm like, why is this 8-year-old asking me what I do for work? And, I told her, I'm like, oh, I work in skincare. And she's like, oh, tell me what brands, And her mom's like, yeah. She's obsessed with skincare right now. And so I asked her, and interestingly enough, it was super similar to when we had Celia on the podcast, but her favorite skincare line is Summer Fridays.
Of course it is. Every Gen Alpha. That's so cute.
It is really cute.
All right, guys, that is a wrap on today's news roundup. Be sure to stay tuned next Monday for our weekly roundup of beauty, pop culture, and business news.
And we will see you this Thursday for our deeper dive chit chat episode.
Bye.
Bye.